Alright, today's video is going to be about the pursuit of true love. I'm going to be trying to help everybody find true love, and I've created a Facebook group for doing this, and we'll get into that in just a minute here. But first I got some updates, I guess. If you notice, like, half my videos are missing. They'll be up again pretty soon. It's because I'm on a job search. Once I find a job, I'll probably set them back up. They're just set to private for now. Now, if you've just sorted out all the true love stuff in your head and you're just at the point where you want to just pursue it, the Facebook page is in the description. So just go to that Facebook page and let's try to grow this group. It's totally free. I'm not trying to sell any crap. It's just, it exists for just this reason, right? And the rest of this video, I'm going to be exploring the theory and philosophy of true love. Alright, so first I'm going to give you guys some updates. I've been pursuing true love for the past like 13 years or more, pretty actively, and I found my first girlfriend in the last couple months, and that's probably why I've been really busy and haven't been making too many videos. And we had a very deep relationship, but it ultimately failed for the simple reason that she didn't really value love to the extent I did. And I think it's very common. Like many people will say, "Oh, I value true love. That's the number one thing I value." But in reality, no. They value their careers more. They value money more. You know, they value ambitions. There's all sorts of things they realistically value more. And this was the case, right? So it was really bad and ended disastrously. And maybe she'll change her mind at some point in time. Now, true love, I think today is very discouraged, right? So if you look at our dating culture, it's as superficial and shallow and stupid and immoral as you can possibly get. So for example, if you live in any kind of like Western society, you'll notice that the typical pattern people pursue is find a career and then stuff love somewhere into there and try to make love work somehow. I think the exact opposite is the correct approach. I think you should find love first, and then based on the demands and necessities of the love, find a career, right? So if you guys are both extroverted and need 8 hours of interaction a day, well then you're going to need a job that has very low amount of hours and high pay, right? So maybe starting a business is the way to go. And if you're the kind of guys who are both night owls or something, right? Well then you're going to have to get a job at nighttime, right? So it's really retarded how we try to just, you know, get a career and hope love will somehow work out. That's not gonna work. So the first main premise, I think, of true love is that you really have a profound value for love itself, and that this love takes precedence over virtually everything else. If you don't value love itself, then it's not going to go very far. Now the next main thing, I think, is objective compatibility. And any relationship that does not have objective compatibility is going to fall apart and fail in the long term. So for example, many people will say, okay, you're the most understanding person, or they'll say, you know, you're the most intelligent person to their partner. But in reality, they're just saying that because if they told them the truth, it would make them very upset. So objective compatibility is extremely important, and I think it's really, you really have to figure out what your core values are and make sure that that objective compatibility is actually there, right? So for example, I would say deep understanding is a really big thing, right? Is the deep understanding actually there? Like, if I have a game for testing these things, right? What you do is you imagine a scenario and you get your partner to predict what would you do in that scenario, and you have to write your answer down just so you can't change your answer later, right? And see how good your partner is actually guessing, you know, what you would do, or at least what you think you would do, right? Maybe they can give you two answers. They can give you an answer of what you think you would do and what they actually think you would do, right? So, you know, deep understanding is something really important. Absolute trust and honesty is something I consider very important, right? I think, and these are all ideals, right? So no relationship is going to be objectively 100% ideal, and I don't think that's something that is important. But I think it is important that things are, you know, 80% or 90% ideal. Things don't have to be perfect, but they do have to be really good. And it's never like one single dimension that determines everything, right? So like what are the odds you're actually going to be with the smartest person in the world if intelligence is something you value? Well, it's pretty low, right? But what are the odds you're going to find someone who's smarter than 80–90% of people in society? Well, pretty high. So objective compatibility is the first major thing. And the next major thing, I think, to true love is subjective compatibility, right? So just because somebody is smart and has all these, loving and has all these characteristics that you like, doesn't mean you're actually going to feel feelings of strong love towards them, right? So being able to actually feel really good and being able to really deeply connect, that's something that is just as important as objective love, right? And in our society, we have way too much of a value on subjective love. So if someone feels a lot of feelings of love towards someone, they don't even consider, is this person actually, do they actually have the same values I do? Do they have the same morals I do? Do they have intellectual compatibility? Do they, these things, they don't even look for these things. They just say, well, a feeling's there, so we act based on that feeling. And that's also just as bad as acting with only objective compatibility. I think the subjective elements of true love are really interesting and they vary a lot per person. And we're kind of raised with this cliche that love is this good feeling in your heart, and it is that sometimes. But it's also really weird. Like I'll give an example. When I would do deep compassion bonding, like when we're in tears and really like caring for each other's like suffering, right? I would get this feeling which I would describe as a ghost. And when I'm by myself, it would feel like my girlfriend was standing right behind me, except partially inside me as well, like an inch or 2 inches deep inside my body. And whenever she would move, you could feel her moving throughout your body, and it's sort of like this euphoric wave wherever they go, right? So I don't think it's nearly as simple as just like, oh, it's this good feeling in your heart. I think there's all sorts of hidden euphorias and really wonderful experiences that can be had on the subjective level. And I think today there's kind of a culture against true love, and it really pisses me off because I hear people say, oh, true love is all just fantasy, it's all dreamlike thinking. I don't think it is. I think that people who say that are irrational, and I think I can demonstrate that pretty well. Like with any emotion, is there true excitement? Is there true pride? Is there true? Of course there is. I mean, there's people who value pride more than anything in the world, and they'd be willing to do literally anything to pursue their pride. They're willing to blow themselves up into pieces to pursue their ambitious goals. So to me, it doesn't seem very unlikely that there would be people who value true love, people who prioritize love as the ultimate thing and they want to pursue that. I think it's very obvious rationally that true love exists, and I think most people don't really want it. I think that's very obviously the case, and most people are happier in the dating world and hooking up and having these superficial and shallow relationships. Most people don't really value depth.